I didn't go to my husband first. I went to his mother, and I brought 3 years of receipts. When I married Adam, I thought his family was part of the gift. His mother, Linda, was warm in the way that made you feel like you'd always belonged at her table. His father was quiet but kind, the type who remembered your coffee order after hearing it once. And then there was Melissa, Adam's younger sister, 31, sharp, funny, the kind of woman who could make you laugh so hard you forgot she hadn't actually said anything nice. She was a paralegal who talked about people the way surgeons talk about bodies. Clinically, precisely, always finding something wrong. I admired it at first. I mistook that precision for honesty. When Adam and I got engaged, Melissa was the first person to hug me. She held on a beat too long and whispered, "Welcome to the chaos." I thought it was affection. Looking back, I think it was a warning from her about what she was planning to do. She helped me pick out centerpieces. She texted me memes at midnight. She called me her sister before the ink was dry on the marriage license. And underneath all of that warmth, she was already sharpening the knife. The first crack came 7 months into the marriage. Adam came home from Sunday dinner at his parents' house. I'd skipped it because of a migraine, and he was quiet in a way that felt deliberate. He asked me, almost too casually, if I was happy. Not, "How are you feeling?" or "Did the headache get better?" Just, "Are you happy?" I said yes. He nodded, but something behind his eyes didn't settle. I didn't think much of it then. A few weeks later, Linda called to check in and mentioned, almost as an aside, that she hoped I wasn't feeling overwhelmed by the family, that she knew they could be a lot. I told her I loved them. She sounded relieved, but also confused, like my answer didn't match the information she'd been given. It took me another full year to understand what was happening. I started noticing a pattern. Every time I missed a family event, a birthday dinner, a holiday, even a casual weekend visit, the temperature in the room would be slightly different the next time I showed up. Cooler, more careful. Adam's aunt stopped making small talk with me. His cousin's wife, who I used to text regularly, went quiet. And Adam kept asking these oddly specific questions. Do you think my mom is overbearing? Do you feel like my family puts too much pressure on us? Questions I'd never prompted, questions that sounded like they'd been planted. I started paying attention, and what I found made my stomach turn. Melissa had been talking, not loudly, not obviously. She operated in the margins. A concerned aside to Linda here, a worried comment to Adam there. She told Linda that I'd confided in her about feeling smothered by the family, that I'd said Sunday dinners felt like an obligation, that I thought Linda was too involved in our marriage. None of it was true. Not a single word. But Melissa delivered it with the perfect packaging. The soft voice, the "I'm only telling you because I care," the reluctant sister-in-law who just wanted everyone to be okay. She told Adam that I'd cried to her about missing my independence, that I'd hinted at regretting how fast we moved. She reframed every innocent thing I'd ever said to her in private and turned it into evidence that I was unhappy, pulling away, and too proud to say it out loud. The confirmation came during Thanksgiving, year 2. I walked into the kitchen early to help Linda with the turkey, and she was on the phone with Melissa. She didn't know I was there. I heard Linda say, "I just don't want Adam to get hurt. If she really feels that way, maybe they need to talk to someone." Melissa's voice through the speaker was soft, measured, dripping with manufactured concern. "I've tried to get her to open up, Mom. She just shuts down. I think she resents how close Adam is to us." I stood in that doorway with the dish towel in my hand and felt the floor tilt. My hands went cold, my vision narrowed to a point. 3 years of strange silences and weird questions and family members pulling back, it all collapsed into a single unbearable clarity. Melissa had built a story about me, brick by brick, and she'd gotten the whole family to live inside it. I wasn't losing my mind. I was losing my place in a family that had been told, slowly and carefully, that I didn't want to be there. I set the dish towel on the counter. I walked to the bathroom. I locked the door, sat on the edge of the tub, and pressed my palms against my eyes until I saw white. I didn't cry. I was past crying. I was in the part of the hurt that's so deep it's just silence. I spent December collecting. I didn't confront anyone. I didn't change how I behaved. I smiled at Melissa over Christmas dinner. I complimented her new earrings. And every night after Adam fell asleep, I sat at the kitchen table with my phone and I built my case. I went through every text Melissa had ever sent me. I screenshotted conversations where she asked leading questions. Do you ever feel like Adam's family is too much? And then cross-referenced them with the timeline of Adam's strange behavior and Linda's careful comments. I found the pattern, and once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. Melissa would text me something designed to get a vague or ambiguous response, and within days, a distorted version of that response would surface in the family. She was manufacturing her own evidence. In January, I made my decision. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to cry. I was going to dismantle the machine she'd built, and I was going to do it by going straight to the person she'd spent the most time deceiving. I called Linda on a Tuesday morning and asked if we could have coffee, just the two of us. She hesitated. She'd been hesitating around me for 2 years, but she said yes. We met at a cafe near her house. I brought a folder. Not a thick one, just enough. I set it on the table between us and said, Linda, I need you to hear all of it before you respond. I started with the texts. I showed her the messages Melissa had sent me, the ones designed to provoke specific responses. Then I showed her the timeline. Every time Melissa had reported something to Linda or Adam, I had the corresponding text exchange that proved the original conversation had been twisted or fabricated entirely. I showed her a message where Melissa asked me if I ever felt like Sunday dinners were too frequent. My response had been, honestly, I love them. I just wish they didn't conflict with my Saturday shifts so I wasn't always exhausted. What Melissa told Linda, that I'd admitted the dinners were exhausting and I dreaded them. I laid out 6 more examples. Each one followed the same pattern. Ask, distort, report. Linda's face changed with every page. Not all at once. First confusion, then recognition, then something worse, the slow horror of realizing you've been used as a weapon against someone you cared about. I had saved the last page in the folder for a reason. The last thing in the folder was a screenshot of a group text between Melissa and 2 of Adam's cousins. It was from 6 months before the wedding. Melissa had written, and I will never forget the words, give it 2 years. She's not built for this family. I give the marriage until she breaks. One cousin had responded with a laughing emoji. The other asked if Melissa was serious. Melissa's reply, dead serious. I know my brother. He'll come back to us eventually. I slid that page across the table last. Linda read it twice. Then she put her hand over her mouth. The cafe noise went on around us. Espresso machines, a baby fussing, someone laughing at the counter, and Linda sat there in perfect silence, with tears running down her face. She didn't defend Melissa. She didn't ask me if the screenshots were real. She just said, very quietly, how long? I told her, 3 years. Linda called a family meeting that Sunday. She didn't tell anyone what it was about. When Melissa walked in and saw me sitting at the dining room table with her mother, her face did something I'll remember forever. It flickered. Just for a half second, the mask slipped, and underneath it was the expression of someone who knows exactly what they did and has just realized someone else knows too. Linda didn't yell. She was methodical, almost unbearably calm. She went through the examples one by one. She asked Melissa to explain each discrepancy. Melissa tried. She stumbled through half denials, claimed misunderstandings, said I was taking things out of context. But Linda had the texts, she had the timeline, and she had that group message, the one where her own daughter had placed a bet on her son's marriage failing. When Linda read that message aloud, Adam stood up from the table. He didn't look at Melissa. He walked out to the porch. I heard the screen door close. Melissa started to cry. Real tears, or maybe practiced ones. By that point, I couldn't tell the difference, and I'd stopped trying. Linda told Melissa she would not be welcome at family gatherings until she had written a full, honest accounting of every conversation she had distorted, every lie she had told, and every family member she had recruited into her campaign. She said it the way you'd deliver a legal ruling, without emotion, without negotiation. Adam's father, who had been silent through the entire thing, looked at Melissa and said only 5 words. "You should be ashamed, Melissa." The room went still. In the weeks that followed, the fallout was quiet but total. The aunt who'd stopped talking to me called to apologize. The cousin's wife texted me a paragraph that started with, "I am so sorry." Adam and I had the longest conversation of our marriage, and for the first time in 2 years, his questions weren't strange. They were just his. Melissa sent a letter. It was 3 pages. I read it once. Some of it sounded genuine. Some of it sounded like a paralegal drafting a settlement offer. I didn't respond. It's been 8 months now. Melissa is slowly being allowed back into family events, supervised by a mother who will never fully trust her the same way again. Adam and I are closer than we've been since the wedding, but there's a scar there, not between us, but around us, in the shape of every conversation that was poisoned before we even knew to protect it. I don't hate Melissa. I think about her sometimes and feel something closer to exhaustion than anger. She spent 3 years trying to prove I wasn't built for this family. What she proved instead was that she was willing to break it. I kept the folder, not because I think I'll need it again, because some things you don't throw away, you just put them somewhere dark and let them remind you what silence can hide.